I literally just posted my Lakers offseason reaction video, and now I'm moving on to making this video about the Lamelo Ball trade. Yes, I am a little late, but honestly, when I opened up my timeline and saw this, I was shocked. Lamelo Ball is a Minnesota Timberwolves, man. This is crazy, and there's a lot to talk about with this trade because off first glance, when you say, "Oh, Lamelo Ball is going to play with Anthony Edwards in Minnesota," they've come up short a couple times in the conference finals. This is going to get them over the hump. If you just look at it from that point of view, you're like, "Wow, the Timberwolves won this trade." But I don't think it's that black and white. I think there's a lot to be said about this deal, a lot to discuss, and I'm going to talk about it right now. So, Lamelo Ball got traded for Lamelo Ball and Josh Green got traded to Minnesota for Naz Reid as well as a 2033 unprotected first round pick. We'll get back to that. 3 first round pick swaps and 3 second round picks. So a lot of pick swaps, a lot of second round picks, which that in and of itself is a lot of draft equity for Lamelo Ball. But when you're talking about a 2033 unprotected first round pick, I don't think you guys realize how far 2033 is. That is 7 years in the future. Who knows what the NBA is going to look like? That could end up being a very high pick. That is a very valuable pick. Picks like that don't just get floated around in trades. I mean, that is a serious pick. And it was in this trade for LaMelo Ball as well as Josh Green. And not only was all this draft equity involved, Naz Reid was also thrown in there. And let me rephrase that. Naz Reid is not a throw-in. Naz Reid was definitely a crucial part of this deal. And yeah, Naz Reid and picks are going to the Hornets in exchange for LaMelo Ball and Josh Green. I keep saying Josh Green, but it's really just in exchange for LaMelo Ball, we can say. So this is the LaMelo Ball trade. And it is crazy. I did not expect this to happen. I did not think LaMelo Ball was going to get traded this offseason. And with all honesty, when I first saw this, I didn't know what was involved. I didn't know what the picks were. I didn't know who he was traded for. All I said was, why? Why would the Hornets trade LaMelo Ball after having a very successful year, being one of the best teams in the NBA for the second half of the season, being like probably the most exciting team to watch, having moments in the play-in, just missing out on the playoffs? Why are they letting it all go and trading LaMelo Ball? And that was my first thought. And after, further consideration and hearing a few other people talk about it, I really kind of have changed my stance on this trade. Not saying other people sway my opinions, but it's always good to hear other perspectives. And I do understand the fact that the Hornets sold high on LaMelo Ball, and they sold high on a guy that, had injury issues and who kind of displayed a clear ceiling for the team, if that makes sense. Like, all right, LaMelo Ball was great in Charlotte. He made a lot of players better. He helped Con Knipple have a successful rookie year. He's been helping Brandon Miller. He creates shots for everyone. Miles Bridges. He's just LaMelo Ball is one of those guys that you can plug in on a team and he'll make everyone better, similar to a Luka Doncic-esque type player. So from that point of view, you're like, damn, why would they trade LaMelo Ball? Well, at the end of the day, LaMelo Ball has struggled staying healthy throughout his entire career. And I think the Hornets did this move kind of how, like, with the thought process of that they're selling high on a player who they love and who is, without a doubt, their best player. But at the end of the day, who is someone that is expendable. It's not like LaMelo Ball. He's a tier below the Giannis's, the LeBrons, obviously. He might even be 2 tiers below them. He's an all-star. He's a great player. He's a great playmaker. But at the end of the day, LaMelo Ball is expendable for the right price. He's had injury issues as well as maturity issues his whole career. I do think he's totally grown in the maturity department. I'm not going to hold that against him. But he has had trouble staying on the court. And I don't think the Hornets are messing around with this move. It's a tough pill to swallow, but they're selling high on their franchise guy. It's not easy to do. It takes some serious courage and some bravery, but they did it. And I think they did it because the price was so right. I think this is a great price for LaMelo Ball. You're talking about a 6th man of the year, Naz Reid, who is gonna start in Charlotte, and he's a stretch big. He guards. He's athletic. He's not old. He fits in with the Hornets just as well as anybody. As well as a 2033 unprotected first round pick. 3 first round pick swaps, so that's 4 first round picks total, and then 3 second round picks. I mean, that draft equity is off the charts for LaMelo Ball. Not for LaMelo Ball, but just for this trade. I mean, that's a lot of picks here, and Naz Reid's a viable player. He's gonna slide right in perfectly with Charlotte. He's gonna play good ball for them, and at the end of the day, the Hornets have more moves to make. Kobe White is more of a 2 guard, I'd say, than anything. They don't really have a true point guard right now. But this team's young, man. This team's young. They have a future. Concanipple and Brandon Miller are their future. They're making that move without LaMelo Ball. They're making the move into a new era. And, I think what they did was honestly the right move. I think it was. They get a good big man. They get a lot of draft capital. And I think they're still going to be able to be a playing team as they were last year without LaMelo Ball. That being said, I know LaMelo Ball did make everyone better, including Concanipple and Brandon Miller. But I do think both of them took leaps as the year went on in terms of self-creation. And I do believe that this team will be back in the play next year without LaMelo Ball. And I believe that they're still their outlook is going to remain very bright, and they're going to be one of those fun teams again with a bright future. Except for this time, instead of LaMelo Ball, they have a crap ton of picks, as well as Naz Reid. Now, for the Timberwolves' point of view, I saw this as a home run, and I don't quite see it that way anymore. Honestly, I don't. Here's the thing: the Timberwolves are a team, as I've said, that has fallen short numerous times in the past couple years. I'd say, on average, they are, when we look back at this era, they're the team in the West that is not a tier below, but they're consistently the second best team. And clearly this move is them telling the league, we don't want to be the second best team in the league anymore. We want to win, we want to compete for it, and we want to win championship. Now, that is totally fine. But the thing about this move is you throw a rotational court player at the Hornets, Naz Reid, as well as a bunch of draft capital. And here's the thing: when you make a move like this to go all in, you have to be all in. And when I look at LaMelo Ball on this roster, the LaMelo Ball has never been on a roster this good. This is a fact. We've never seen him on a team this good and this serious. So we can see. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw the best version of LaMelo Ball this year. I would not be. Honestly, I kind of expect that because he has so much talent around him. We already know he makes others better. I think he's going to have a great year. Does he make them the champions of the NBA, though? Does this move make them NBA champions, or at least closer to it? I'd say yes and no. In a way, yes, in the fact that they have more talent and they have a little bit of a higher ceiling. No, in a sense that they don't have much flexibility and that this is their window. It's like they went all in. Rather than kind of pulling back and maybe making some moves around the edges to extend their window maybe their window would be a few years from now rather than now. They moved all their chips in the middle and they said, we're getting LaMelo Ball, we want to win now. So their window it went from maybe going over here and onward, and right now it's looking like their window's here. LaMelo Ball, Anthony Edwards, Rudy Gobert, let's win. They seem like they're ready to win, and there's a certain type of pressure, not even pressure, but a certain a lack of freedom. Not freedom. What's the word? It's a certain type of expectation when you put this type of pressure on your organization to say, this is our window now. We don't care about the future. F them picks. We're going all in. We're going to win. And that's kind of what Minnesota is doing here. As similar for the Hornets, this trade, it takes bravery. It takes courage from them. It takes belief in order to make a trade like this. So I do like the trade in this fact that LaMelo is going to be on the most talented team he's been on. He's got Anthony Edwards by his side. They're going to be dangerous out west. But are they still better than the Spurs or the Thunder? And honestly, right now, the answer is no to me. The answer is no. And they just made this trade, and they pigeonholed. Honestly, I think it's a little pigeonholing this trade. Um, and they want to win. I just don't think it does it. Like, I don't see it too clearly yet. And I know I really want to eat these words because I love Minnesota. But, it's going to take to see how they play together, to see how they're actually. I need to see the product on the court before I make any huge statements. But I see this trade as something that definitely closes their championship window into right now. And at the end of the day, I don't know if that roster is still good enough. They obviously still have the ability to make more moves this offseason. But Dante DiVincenzo is still going to be out with his Achilles. He's a critical rotational piece. They lost Naz Reid, who was big for them. So we'll see. I'm not sure if this move puts them over the hump as they want it to. But I guess time will tell. I don't know. I'm really iffy on this trade. I think I would have done it if I'm Minnesota. But I don't know if I would have done it for the price or, I like the idea of it. I like the idea of it a lot. But when you actually see it, and then you think, wow, well, okay, well, we did lose Naz Reid. DiVincenzo is going to be out. We were able to re-sign Io, which is good. But we also lost Julius Randle. So it's just a different team. It's a different vibe. We're going to have to see how it meshes. I don't think this team as constructed can win a championship. But does this make them maybe a move away? Yes. So we'll see. I don't know what the product's going to be on the court, but at the end of the day, I do like the risk kind of from both teams because I think it is kind of risky for both teams, and both teams took a chance. The Hornets, they're risking not being as good and kind of resetting their timeline because the Hornets have always been bad ever since I've been alive, and they were good with Lamelo, and now you're going to trade him away the minute they got good. That's risky. Timberwolves, you're taking a risk on getting a young all-star saying, hey, let's win now. We want to win. Let's win now. And I think this, because honestly, I'm not quite sure, but I'm not saying Lamelo and Ant can't play together for years, but I'm talking in terms of Rudy Gobert's contract, considering he's on the later end of his prime. Other factors, I just such as other teams in the West. I just don't know. This trade is, I'm not obsessed with it for the Timberwolves, but I do understand it, and I am excited to see how it goes. So, was it worth it? Time will tell. I can't give you an answer right now, but I am excited to see how Lamelo and Ant play together. It's going to be a fun team, and you never know. We'll see what else the Timberwolves do, and maybe they can get over the hump. We'll see. But thanks for watching, and more to come. Subscribe.